Everybody to our session on contributing to the Alma Community Zone. This session is part of our Managing Electronic Resources webinar series. This is the page here for the Managing Electronic Resources webinar series. I will send this out to everybody in the chat, though I believe everybody already has this page. So let's just see where we are in this session. We're almost done with this series. We're almost done here. We started way back in September with the overview and background, and then we moved on to ordering and activating collections, and then ordering and activating specific portfolios, maintaining e-resources, overall maintenance, troubleshooting discovery issues, the overlap analysis, where we checked which portfolios may exist in multiple collections. Then we talked about counter usage and sushi harvesting of that counter usage. Last week, we looked at the analytics around electronic resources. And now we're on contributing to the community zone. As usual, we will be partially looking at the PowerPoint. However, the majority of the session will be in Alma, but we will get a little introduction here via the PowerPoint. The link to this PowerPoint and the link to all of the materials can be found on this Managing Electronic Resources page. Each one has a link here to the presentations, also to the YouTube playlist with all of the recordings. And the PowerPoint, which I will be briefly looking at, is on this link here, which I got to from the Managing Electronic Resources page, and we're looking at contributing to the Alma Community Zone. So everybody has access to that material. Those of you viewing this via a YouTube recording will see in the description of the video a link to this material. So without further ado, let's jump in. So first of all, when we're referring in this case to the community zone, we are referring to the bibliographic records which are connected to electronic resources. We're referring to electronic portfolios, and we're referring to electronic collections. We are not referring to authority records, which many of you are aware also exist in the community zone. So in the community zone, let's even go take a look here. So if someone comes and searches the community zone, I'm going to switch my scope here to community. It's also possible to search authorities, but we're not referring to authorities now, just so everything is clear. We're not referring, for example, to if I were to look here in the community for a name and see the authority records, that's a separate topic. We are referring to electronic portfolios, electronic collections, and the bibliographic records which are related to them. Why do we have the option of contributing to the community zone? So the main goal is really twofold. One is so that electronic collections, which may already be present in an institution, but the vendor has not yet supplied them to Ex Libris, we can get them into the community zone faster than waiting for the vendor to supply them to our content team if an institution contributes that. So we have on the screen now these authority records, different vocabularies, which I said we're not referring to. We're referring to, for example, the portfolios, the collections, and the bibliographic records related to them. So if an institution has an electronic collection already, and the other institutions want to take advantage of that electronic collection, as we saw, for example, in previous sessions where you can activate a portfolio or a full electronic collection or order it using the community zone, then if another institution contributes it, then everybody can take advantage of that without waiting for the vendor to supply it to Ex Libris. So that's one example. Another example is that the institutions can edit the bibliographic records in the community zone. So for example, if a record does not have sufficient subject headings, An institution can edit that record, add subject headings, and they will automatically be in the community zone. And other institutions will be able to take advantage of that and also have a richer bibliographic record. As we will see, there are guidelines of what can be added and changed. For example, the ISSN and ISBN cannot be changed because they may already be linked to something in an institution, and we don't want to change a unique identifier. So that's more or less what I just stated here. That we want to have high quality descriptive records. So if a record is missing something, maybe an added author, not only subjects, institutions can come and update those records and also add those collections to the community zone, entire collections or individual portfolios, speeds up the process. Sometimes vendors take longer to supply those resources to the Ex Libris content team than they do to the specific institutions, so the specific institutions can add them. So what can be done? Like I stated, bibliographic records can be updated, portfolios can be added to specific existing collections, and we'll look at that, and entire collections can be contributed, and we will do that. We will contribute an entire collection. It will be, by the way, a collection that we made in one of our previous sessions. You may recall we made an electronic collection called Resources About Barbecuing when we were talking about creating local electronic collections. So I've still got that electronic collection, and now we're going to contribute it to the community zone. Now, where it states the second bullet here that any change to the community zone bibliographic records was automatically reflected in the community zone, that is true. However, before any change is done from an institution to the community zone, it goes through an approval process of the Ex Libris content team, because we don't want anyone going in and just adding anything or changing anything. So it does go through a process where the Ex Libris content team is informed of the contributions. In the vast majority of the cases, they are approved. Sometimes a question might be asked, but the vast majority of cases, it's approved, and then the change is reflected in the community zone. So automatically means once you click contribute, you're done. You don't have to run a job or wait, for a nightly job to run, but it does need to go through the approval of the Ex Libris content team. Now, the portfolios which can be contributed, we said you can update a bibliographic record, you can contribute a portfolio, and you can add a local electronic collection. When adding individual portfolios, it's to these specific collections, which most of them, all of them, in fact, are free. Free e-journals, miscellaneous free e-journals, freely accessible business journals, etc. And all of this is explained in the documentation, which we're going to get to in a moment. So it says here, see also the community zone guidelines and contributing to the community zone bibliographic records. I've got both of those links open here. So here, it gives a description of everything I'm going to show now. As far as the community zone contributions go, same thing here. It's a full list of those collections which can be added. If we go to portfolio contribution, for example, it will explain that. So everything is in here, and you've got links to all of these resources in the PowerPoint. Here is where it states, for example, which collections can be made, what we just saw in the PowerPoint. I know there are some questions that came up, but let me start doing the actual flow here, and then we will be able to answer the questions, because as I do the actual flow, we'll be able to relate to those questions. So let's start with editing a CZ bibliographic record. Okay, let me just close that. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's say I've got a bibliographic record It's in the community zone. Maybe I've linked to it. Maybe I have not yet linked to it. And I find that it's missing something important. For example, let's take a look at an electronic portfolio, or we could even look by all titles for Ms. Gloria Steinem. Let's say I have already linked to that. Maybe it's in one of my electronic collections, and I want to be able to make a change to it. Now, by the way, I already did this yesterday, but I'm going to do it now also. And you can see here, it says modified by Alma University, because I did it yesterday and it's already been updated here. So let's do a different one, actually. We'll do Miss Gloria Steinem, A Life. We won't see immediately the modified by Alma University, but because I did this one yesterday, it's already there. So let's say this one here I want to make a change to. So if I say edit record, it will open in the metadata editor. And then I can start making the changes, save it, and they get reflected in the community zone. Now I'm going to open up the chat here because people are asking things about what can and cannot be changed here. So I want to relate to that as we go along. Someone asked, can we change the scripting cataloging form in field 008? Someone asked, can we add additional ISSN, ISBN? So it's not to change one, but to add additional ones. So let's see. Let's do that. I'll make this a little larger so everyone can see this better. Okay, maybe that's too big actually. Okay, so let's say I want to add another field here. So maybe I'll add a 600. I see we don't have a we do have a 600 with her name. Let's add anything, even if it's not relevant, so that we're showing that we can add things. So let's say I'm gonna just add another field here, just like any field, function F8. And let's say I want to add a 650. Maybe I'll find a vocabulary we don't already have here, and I'll add that. So if I say 7 and I say feminism, and I say subfield 2 in the name of my vocabulary, and I'll do an F3. And I'll take something. Okay. Select. And I've added a 650 subfield 7 for NLI vocabulary. It automatically added the subfield 9 with the language. So I've added a field now. Now someone asked, can we change the 008? So let's see. I'm going to say Control F. And I will say perhaps that this will be, instead of O for online, I'll say it's Q. And we'll say, so position 23 is Q, escape. What else did someone ask? Can we add another ISBN? Let's see. So we will add another field here. It's not a real ISBN, but just so we have something. Okay. And we will save. Okay, record saved. I'm going to release that. Let's keep in mind, this is Miss Gloria Steinem, A Life. So let's release it. Release records, yes. Let's search again here. Okay, now we can make this a little smaller. So this one here says modified by Alma University because I did exactly what we're describing now, and we'll see it in the PowerPoint in a minute, yesterday. This one does not yet say modified by Alma University. It needs to go through that full process that I was referring to. You can see I already have the changes, actually. Here's my Q in position 23. Here's my ISBN, which is not a real ISBN, but you can see it got added. And you can also see here that we have the 650 that we added. So in sum, we have now successfully edited a bibliographic record in the community zone. If anybody is using this bibliographic record, they will have these changes. Now, all of the rules of what can and cannot be changed is here in the Alma Community Cataloging Standards, Policies, Rights, and Responsibilities, which I just clicked on and now is open. So this explains the terms of use, the cataloging policies, the standards, how to use the community zone. Now, when we first started doing this, I'm just going to give a little an aside here. When I first started doing it, when we first started doing it, Ex Libris, we were concerned what's going to happen here. We're opening this up to the whole world. It has not in the least bit been abused. Institutions have really added good local electronic collections to the community zone. They have really enriched the bibliographic records quite well. So there hasn't been any bad repercussions. And all of the rules here are very clear. So you can go through this if you'd like and see exactly what the rules are. Now, I'm going to take that record again. I'm going to go back to the metadata editor, but we see here, before I fix it, we see here that I successfully added the 657 here with feminism with the NLI vocabulary. We see that I added another 020, and we see that I changed the 008. But I want to fix that. So I'm going to go back. This is open to all users with the cataloging role. There's not a special role which says, and you can update a CZ record. Someone asked that question. So I'm going to get rid of this fictitious one now, so I'm not ruining the bibliographic records there. So I'll just say Control F6. You see that? He's not letting me delete it now because I can add. Do you see the message on the bottom there? You cannot delete 02Z field. This is a restricted action. Because it's a CZ record, I'll be able to delete it because I'm Ex Libris and I have other ways. But you can see here, I'm not allowed to delete the message on the bottom in red because we don't want people to go in and start deleting ISBNs or ISSNs because, like I said, they're linked to various other processes. So I can't get rid of that one. I'm going to leave this 650 second indicator 7 because that's legitimate. It's got another vocabulary. But let's fix our 008 and put that back to O for electronic, or O for online. Okay, so now I will save that again. And I've taken note of this record, so I'll fix that 020 on my own time. And that will be saved. So that's editing a bibliographic record. Let's go through here and see in the PowerPoint what I just did live. So this is a different record, but it's just like I did live. You can come in and edit a record. I'm in the community tab, as you can see. Edit a record from the community. In this case, we have 4 65X subjects, and we add a 5th one. Or we have 4 and we add another one, a 5th one. And then we save it. And in the CZ record, we see it, which is exactly what we did now. We added a 650 second indicator 7. We also added a 020. We also changed the 008. Main goal, we changed the record and then we immediately saw it in the community zone. And then after a certain amount of time, it will say here also who modified it, which is nice because that prevents people from abusing the system, which by the way is the case. Everything that's contributed, you can contribute general electronic services, import profiles, normalization rules, to the community. Everything that can be contributed, letters, XMLs of letters can be contributed, and everything that can be contributed always says who contributed it. In this case, who modified it. So people aren't going to want to not do nice work when everybody knows that they're the one who did it. Okay, let me go take a look at the questions before we come to contributing portfolios to the CZ. So let me go into the chat here and see if I answered everything. I think I did, but let's come down here and see if there's anything new which I missed. Okay, so someone asked about the roles. Someone who is a cataloger can do this. Someone asked, can we change the cataloging form in field 008? Yes, you can, and you just saw that we did it. Someone asks, and I have a colleague with me, Amot, who you may know from the content team. Amotes, thanks for joining. So someone asks, we used to contribute to CZ Records. However, we found out that these contributions are being deleted when vendors update their records. Is this still the case? Okay, it is still the case as far as I know. Amotes, if you want to join in, go right ahead. If you want to send me a chat, or I could make you a presenter. In any case, yes, occasionally vendors update their records. And in that case, it would get overwritten because the vendor is given a new record. I don't foresee that being a very common case, that someone would update a bibliographic record and then the vendor would overwrite it. But theoretically, that could happen. So be aware. Thank you for pointing it out as well. Let's see if there's any other questions or comments that I missed. I don't see anything else that I missed. Okay, someone asked if we can add additional ISBNs. Yes, we can, and we did that. So I think we're all set here. Okay, Amotes, you're a presenter. If there's anything you want to add, feel free. So let's move on. Contributing portfolios to the community zone. So like we saw, there are certain collections to which the portfolios can be contributed. You can't just take any electronic collection and add a portfolio to it, because vendors set already the content of their electronic collections, so we don't want to start ruining that. And these are the electronic collections. We saw that also in the online help a moment ago, the list. And we're going to do an example here right now with this free e-journals, this one here. So I happen to have something already ready in that free e-journals, which I want to contribute. So let's go take a look at it. First, we'll go to the electronic collection, which is called free e-journals. And we'll see the electronic collection. Not the Japanese. Here it is. 27,000 journals in there. In one of these journals, let's go to the portfolio list, we want to contribute to the free e-journals, which is in the community zone. And it happens to have also a fictitious ISSN, which is 0987. Okay. 0987-6543. Okay. Let's take that up here and say electronic portfolios, ISSN, and boom. Oh, I'm in the community, that's why. Okay. All right, so here it is. I was searching the community scope, which is why I didn't find it, which brings me to my next point, by the way. If this were to already exist in the community zone, we will get a certain workflow. And if it doesn't exist in the community zone, we'll get a different workflow. This, as we just saw a moment ago, does not already exist in the community zone. We saw that when I erroneously, but it was good I did that, when I had searched the community zone for this, which I'm doing again now, I don't get anything. But when I search the institution, I do get it. And now I want to contribute this to the free eJournals electronic collection, which is in the community zone. Let's see that. We'll come to electronic collection, searching the community zone, and we'll see here that it will have less electronic portfolios now than when I contribute. So this is it. It's got 27,372. I'm going back to my institution, and I've got free eJournals, only 7, but I'm going to add one now there. So let's go first. We can either say edit service and switch to the portfolios tab, or we can go to edit full text portfolios. We saw that in the past when we were talking about electronic resource maintenance. The main goal is I need to get to the service and then to the portfolios. And this is my ISSN 09876453. You can see that this is not linked to the community zone. It's got the house icon. You'll remember from the very beginning, we talked about the different icons. And now I want to contribute this to the electronic free eJournals or free eJournals in the community zone. So we'll do that by clicking these 3 dots and saying contribute. And it's giving me some general information. This is the URL that I've got for it. This is the coverage. I don't have a parser. This is electronic material type. Okay. Next. The bibliographic record will be contributed. Yep. The portfolio will be contributed and the bibliographic record. I'll say contribute. And the contribute portfolio has succeeded. So now, after that undergoes the approval of the Ex Libris content team, by the way, we're going to see a screenshot of that very soon, it will appear in the community zone. Let's just see one more time, just for the fun. If we say electronic portfolios one more time, and we say 09876543, and of course, I have it in the institution, but you can see now it has this icon. Previously, it had the house icon. By the way, it's a very interesting journal, the International Journal of Community Zone Contributions. So let's go in here, free eJournals. I'm going to search the institution right now. So now if we go into that portfolio list in the service, you can see now the icon changed here as well. It used to be a house just a short while ago. Now it's a picture of the community because when I contributed it, I also linked to it. And that will probably not yet be in the community zone for reasons I explained a couple of times, but let's do it anyway. No, it's still not there, but it will be. So let's see what we did here. I'm going to go through the PowerPoint now showing what we just did. So we've got this free eJournals. By the way, I did already contribute one. So let's take a look at another one I contributed while we're here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So this one, oh, you can see this one I did yesterday. And you can see it was contributed by Alma University. And it's also part of the free eJournals. So this is what's going to appear on ours after it goes through the approval process of the Ex Libris content team. Let's go on. So we saw that we go to the electronic collection. This one's miscellaneous free ebooks. I did my example in free e-journals. Then we go to the contribute after we find the specific journal that we want to contribute. And then we click next like we did. And then we did contribute, the top screen capture. If I have two screen captures here because the bottom one is if there was a matching record in the community zone, then we need to decide, do we want to not only contribute the portfolio, meaning the information about the electronic resource itself, or do we want to also contribute the bibliographic data? Let's go on. And then we also saw that we got the link showing that it was contributed. And then we also see here contributed by Alma University. Okay, so that covers contributing portfolios to the community zone. Let me go see. Oh, we can also search. Let's show that. Let's show this. So when something is contributed, you can also search by contributed by whom. So for example, if I come here to advanced search and I say contributed by, I'll just start typing contributed by. Okay, so I can search the title contributed by, the electronic collections contributed by, or the university, or the portfolio contributed by. And then I can get by a specific institution. That's on the level of the electronic collection, which we're going to do in a moment, and on the level of the portfolio. Let's just let that finish. There we go. So now I've got, wow, 57,542 electronic portfolios have been contributed by institutions with the word university in them. So that means there's even more because not every institution has the word university in it. Okay, you can see, by the way, these are in free e-journals. Looks like most of them are in free e-journals, at least on the first page here. And we could have also done that search. I'll already go a little ahead of myself. We could have done that also on the level of the electronic collection and say electronic collection contributed by, if I put my mouse on here, we'll be able to see it. Contributed by electronic collection. Let's see how many electronic collections have been contributed by an institution with the word university in it. And of course, I could search for a specific institution, but I'm just showing the grand scheme of things. Okay, so this was by Tsinghua University. That's in China. Western University, Catholic University of America, etc. So that's the contributions. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat before we get to contributing the local electronic collections. So I'm going to head to the chat here. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like I answered everything. I don't see any questions or comments that came in since then. Okay, let's move on. So now electronic collections. Contributing local electronic collections to the CZ. Now, you may recall way back, it's not actually that far back. We can actually see when it was, because we'll see the data on it. We created an electronic collection about resources about barbecuing. When we were talking about several sessions ago, when we were talking about creating local electronic collections. Let's take a look at that. Here it is. We created this October 24th. So let's say now I want to contribute this to the community zone. Of course, I would contribute ones which are worthwhile for the community. I'm just using an example here to show how it works. By the way, some universities have contributed many. Here, for example, if I say contributed by University of Adelaide, I don't know if anyone's on the call here from University of Adelaide. I must have spelled that wrong. They have contributed many quality electronic collections. How do you spell Adelaide? Sorry about that, everybody. Adelaide. Okay. Let's even say, okay, CONTR. Oh, maybe I was getting the wrong field there. Wrong scope. That'll do it every time. Community. Okay, so these are all contributed by University of Adelaide, for example. Routledge Handbooks Online. So again, they contributed these, and then we don't have to wait for the vendor to supply it, or maybe the vendor isn't even going to supply it to the Ex Libris content team. The institution can come along and do it. Everybody can take advantage of that. So we want to take our local electronic collection, which we saw a moment ago, resources about barbecuing, and we want to contribute it now. Let's see how many electronic collections have the word about in it. 2. Okay, so what do we do here? First, we edit the collection. Then we're going to see a button to contribute to the community zone. So I'm just going to see, it's got 4 portfolios. These are the portfolios we made during our session. We made local portfolios, then we added to a local electronic collection. Now I'm going to give a trivia question in a minute. So take note, there are 4 portfolios right now. There's 4 portfolios in this electronic collection. We're going to edit the electronic collection, and now we have a button here, contribute to community. So now we're going to contribute this electronic collection to the community zone. I'm clicking contribute to community. How come, this is the trivia question, how come there are 4 portfolios but 5 bibliographic records? Let's see if someone remembers from the October 24th session. Send it in the chat if you know why. Because there's a record for the collection. Congratulations. Yep, 2 people answered already. Yeah, 3 people even. Yes, because on the level of the collection, we also made a bibliographic record, which helps with discovery. Instead of just a collection name, we can add subjects and all kinds of other things. Okay, so I'm going to confirm this now. I'll make a note here. Hi, Ex Libris. Thank you. This is being used during the webinar. And when Ex Libris goes to look at everything which is potentially going to be contributed to the community zone, they will see, among other things, this note. I'm going to confirm. And now that is sitting with the Ex Libris content team. They'll come in the morning and say, oh, we got a new suggested electronic collection. Take a look at it. In the vast majority of cases, click approve, and it will be in the community zone. It will appear, by the way, before that, not immediately, but it will appear before that, and we'll see a screen capture as under review, and then it will be contributed by. So right now, let's switch over to community. It's still not there because it's going through that process we mentioned. However, yesterday I did one. I did 2 actually. I did studies on Taipei. Studies on Taipei. We're in the community zone. And let's take a look. So this one, oh, great. It's still under review. So this is what first happens. We saw those ones contributed by University of Adelaide that they say contributed by University of Adelaide. This one says contributed by Alma University, but it still hasn't gone through that official approval process. So therefore, it says it's under review. So institutions know when they're looking at it, beware, it might be a great collection, but it hasn't yet officially been approved. We've got another one here, historical books about Connecticut. This is also a local electronic collection. It's also waiting for under review. And once that's done, it'll appear like the ones we saw just a little while ago, which were contributed by Adelaide. And I got that from the internet, so I got it spelled correctly. So once that's approved, it will appear just like this without the under approval. Okay, let's go through exactly what I did now, but looking at the PowerPoint. Contributing local electronic collections to the CZ. We saw that we go into the edit collection. We've got that contribute to community button. We click the contribute to community button. Here also we have one more bibliographic record. Sorry about that. One more bibliographic record than we do number of portfolios. Again, that's because there's one for the electronic collection. And then we get that under review status. This, by the way, is just a screen capture. It's behind the scenes. You don't need to do anything with it. It's just for general knowledge. This is what we see as Ex Libris, or to be more exact, the Ex Libris content team. They get this every day. Take a look at this. And then these are to be approved. Those two that I looked at a moment ago, historical books about Connecticut and studies on Taipei, they appear initially as to be reviewed. And then after the content team checks them, they can change the status to approved. And then the process is done. It will appear like this, contributed by. Okay, let me see if there's any questions or comments in the chat on that. I don't see any questions in the chat. So one final section, we actually already spoke about it, but we're not in a rush here. The community zone management group. So all of those guidelines, which we looked at a moment ago, and we can look again, these guidelines here, and everything that's explained here about contributing to the community zone. These are the list of collections we said can be contributed. This is handled together with Ex Libris by the Community Zone Management Group, the CZMG. And the CZMG is a subgroup of the PWG, the Product Working Group. And they enforce, maybe enforce is kind of a strong word, but it is what they do. They enforce the community zone guidelines. We work together with Ex Libris in maintaining these guidelines. And the group is a work in process. I say it's a work in process because tomorrow we could decide, hey, wait a minute, maybe it's not a good idea that someone can add their own 020-022 ISBN, ISSN. Maybe. So everything that they have decided is in that PDF document, which we already saw, which has a link here. And this is just an overview and responsibilities. You can read that on your own. There's nothing really to add there. So let me see if there's any final questions or comments before we conclude. Let's take a look at the chat one more time. Does anyone have any final questions or comments or anything they want to add? Nothing. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. We will be posting the recording to YouTube, also to the new webinars page. Maybe you've noticed we created a new webinars page. We'll be posting there, and we'll be posting as well to the Alma list, so everybody knows it's there. So thanks everybody, and have a nice day.